So last month I got this book, Dreadful Water by Thomas King, one of my favorite authors, and I am now going to review it. What happens? Thumps Dreadful Water, a Cherokee former and haunted police officer turned photographer, is asked by tribal council leader Claire Merchant, who's also his former lover, to find and bring back Stanley, her young adult son, when a murdered man is discovered at the Rez's newly built and just about to open casino, and the current police force have Stanley as their number one suspect. Good points. It's really well written. The stairway down to the basement was dark and musty. Actually, it was more than musty, but musty would do just fine. Thumps didn't want to know what all the smells were or where they came from, and by the time he got to the bottom of the stairs, he was breathing through his mouth. Beth was standing by the side of a steel table, dressed in a gray apron that had other colors on it as well. In her hand was a nasty-looking scalpel. Daniel Takashi lay on the table. "What brings you to my kitchen?" Thumps's stomach turned over. "You okay?" "Fine." "Hey, come here," said Beth. "You'll be interested in this." "No, I won't." "Don't be a baby. It's a dead body, not a snake." Thumps wasn't sure what a dead body and a snake had to do with each other, but all things considered, he was more inclined towards the snake. Um, all of the characters, no matter how insulary or, oh, it turns out there was an explanation for that, are developed full three-dimensional characters. Also, the world building's really good. Buffalo Mountain and Chinook, the two communities the mystery takes place in, have real social vibes and dynamic both of them. It pains me to tell you that your friend Floyd was killed by an Indian. An Indian? Sure as hell wasn't an Italian. Thumbs didn't want to ask the next question. What did he look like? Bert opened a can and took a long drink. Good-looking kid. Skinny, no ass. Maybe 20. Long hair. Wore it in a ponytail. A couple of dozen young men from the reserve probably fit that general description. But Stanley Merchant fit it perfectly. You talked to him? He asked me where Floyd lived. You hear anything? Heard them yelling at each other. You hear a gunshot? Mm. It's also funny at points, in kind of the standard kind of mystery story, uh, steamy, no sex, no strings attached sex scene with the dame who pulled me in scene. Everything that can possibly go wrong goes wrong. Um, couple of, I guess, in between points. This is the first in what is to be a series, and the arc throughout is um, this string of unsolved serial murders that were what caused Dreadful Water to leave the force. And the the introduction of that and establishing of it seemed a little blunt and out of nowhere to me. It's like, oh no, dead body at the new casino. The cops are tunnel focusing on one guy who's panicked and taken off, and his mother's terribly worried about him. The location where he's hiding out and tensions between the two communities might be really important. The computer building might be too. There's a second body. The list of those involved with the case and who are starting to act sus as hell keeps getting longer and longer, and still no one can find Stanley. Then, one summer, bodies began showing up on beaches along the northern California coast. 10 people in all. The Obsidian Murders. That's what the press had called them. It's like, what? What? Um, it doesn't exactly break the narrative, but it definitely jars it for a beat for me, at least. Um, Second, soon into the book, I realized how it was all going to go. There's a pretty standard trope of who the real villain turns out to be whenever the hero and the accused are racialized men. That being said, all the moving parts of the story and mystery remain so interesting, and I was still engaged right up to the end, and the revealing slash resolve of it all was really entertaining to read. So, it's not a trope I particularly like, but I guess a well-played standard tune is still a well-played tune. Third, Stanley's kind of a jerk. He's bad to his mother and reckless to an almost arrogantly foolish degree, which I kind of I get. I think Thomas King does this deliberately. It is like a real perpetuation of racism to only ever have the cops racistly targeting um, a good racialized person as problematic. No, even if he was like the worst human being, he wouldn't deserve being prejudicially targeted. Still, this leaves all the emotional beats attached to a character I'm frequently thinking, oh my God, like, when Stanley finally kind of decides to allow people to help him, he's like, "Oh, I have this, evidence that might clear me in the trunk of my car." And later, when you find out what the evidence is, it's like, "Dude, why didn't you have that in the trunk of your car?" Okay, but four, um, some of the police are out and out bad too. Uh, and Dreadful Water confronts them, and it's a really intense, cool scene. But at the same time, realistically, our guy likely would have ended up murdered by the cops and everything posthumously pinned on him. It's a good read, though. Um, the only thing I personally found to the book's detriment um, was Dreadful Water has a cat who's named Freeway, and Dreadful Water is a terrible kitty parent. He never pets or plays with her. He leaves her alone for like whole days, and worst of all, he gives her this bowl he made in ceramics class and that he's really proud of, and he's constantly mad at her that she avoids it. But all I can think of is that the paint they use in those ceramics class isn't pet safe. It's kind of upsetting, and it serves absolutely no purpose to the story. So, like, I guess if I was gonna rate this out of 10, I would give it like an 8 out of 10 if you're not like an animal lover. Maybe a 6 or a 5 if you are. But no, I am glad I read it. Thank you.